This short lecture will focus on market segmentation, which is really one of the cornerstones of marketing. And it's going to lead into the concept called the persona. And the persona will be explained in this video. And everything we do in marketing and even in market research in digital marketing revolves around the persona. In other words, what's our ideal customer? What's our ideal target audience? Well, that's what we're going to focus on here. And so what is segmentation? So it's there's a definition here. I don't like reading from slides, but really the definition is it's dividing a market into subsets of consumers who have similar wants and needs. In a nutshell, that's what segmentation is. Some of you, if you've had marketing classes before, you know what segmentation is, but I'm not going to assume that you have. This image shows you what segmentation looks like. You have a group and you of a mixed group, and you convert them into sets of consumers based on what you're trying to break down as a marketer. In marketing, we look at different types of segmentation. We look at demographic segmentation, we look at psychographic, and we look at behavioral and geographic. If you note that demographic and psychographic are in blue, they're sort of highlighted because those are the most common elements of segmentation or areas of segmentation. As we look at them, and let's break down to understand what they are. Demographics are what we are. So what's our age? What's our gender? What's our income? Are three that we always pretty much have to answer. You know, there's other things, marital status and ethnic background and religion and things like that. But the age, gender, and income are the most common factors we think about with demographics. Psychographics are attitudes, values, and beliefs. And the operative word, I believe, here is values. And what does our consumer value? We're going to be talking about that. Behavioral segmentation is sometimes we break down an audience based on how they use the product, the usage rates, the benefits the product offers. And, you know, we'll talk about some examples as far as that's concerned. And geographics is sort of straightforward because, you know, some people live in geographic regions that our products or services are only used from those geographic regions. We'll talk about some of those. But first of all, we get into geographics. I start with this because it's the most basic. You know, you're not going to sell snow blowers in Southern California. You're not probably but you will in North Dakota. You're probably not going to sell surfboards in North Dakota, but you will sell them in Southern California. So those are two kind of obvious ones, but the geographic space is really important to understand. Although we're not going to really focus on that for our personas because it's really very basic. And again, some products, some consumers, some prospects reside in certain areas, and they're going to be targets because of the area they reside in. The most common form of segmentation, or I should say the most common segmentation variable, is demographic segmentation. And that's, again, we break down primarily, like I said before, age, gender, and income. There's other factors that are included. That's like, you know, family size, family life cycle could be a factor. Although it's not as commonly used. Income is huge. Occupation is big. How much education does a prospect or does an audience have overall? The religious factors, race, and those types of things are demographics. Those are things we measure an audience with. They're easy to come by. They're available to anybody who wants to do some secondary research. You can get the age, gender, income, and other factors on any audience, really. But then we look at psychographics. Now, psychographics are what we value. It's much more difficult to determine psychographics and psychographic segmentation. The reason I have these two cars here is I want to make a point, and that is that psychographics has to do with what we value. What do we value? The environment? Do we value convenience? Do we value authentic experiences? Do we value quality? What do we value that are part of our value system? And let's just have I'm going to make an example because this is sort of a key distinction. On the left side of the screen, you have a Tesla. On the right, you have a Honda Accord. They sort of look alike, right? I mean, they obviously they're not the same. One's a lot more expensive than the other and does different things. Let's say you have two people that have the same job in the same company, but one buys a Tesla and they have the same income too, and the other one buys a Honda Accord. You're looking at $25,000 for the Honda Accord versus anywhere from 40 to 100,000 with the Tesla. So why would the same person demographically purchase such a different product? And that has to do with the value system. With the Tesla, the value may revolve around the environment, may revolve around status and those types of things, because it's a cool car and people look at them, but they may say, hey, I am in this because of the environment. Whereas the Honda Accord owner also values the environment because they get really good gas mileage in that car and it's very dependable. However, it doesn't have the same status value, and but the person who buys the Honda, guess what? They're going to have they may value other things like vacations and things like time off and vacations, because they're going to have more money to spend on discretionary purchases than the Tesla owner will, all things considered that they have the same job, same income. So it just really depends on what you value. But we do combine psychographics with demographics. And this image just sort of shows you, we're using the brain because the brain is where all this resides. And values are a big part of what we are and who we are. Opinions, attitudes, activities, interests, behaviors, all those things make up psychographics. So remember, demographics are what we are. Psychographics are who we are, what we value. And then behavioral segmentation is the last one I'm going to talk about here. Has to do with how often you use a product. Brand loyalty is a big deal here, because that's, brand loyalty does affect purchases. And we'll talk about some of that. The benefits you get on the occasion. And if you look at this Ford F-150 pickup truck, you might get a teenager whose parents buy him one, which it's too bad because they always drive too fast and they got a big heavy car, but well, generality there. Could also be a tradesman. It could be a carpenter, electrician, someone like that who needs a truck for work. So you got two different buyers, two different need bases, and two different behaviors. So that's how behavioral segmentation can factor in the purchase of a product. And I'm going to talk about loyalty, because loyalty is part of behavioral segmentation. It's a big part of it. Marketers really, loyal customers, repeat customers are like gold. How do they create a loyal customer? How is a loyal customer created? You're looking at Apple products here. Wow, these are out of date already. I can't believe it. I just put these up last year, now they're out of date. I have to get a new image here, new picture. So with the iPhone 14s here. So anyways, you've got some people are really loyal, completely loyal. And Apple is a good example of that. I know people that will spend more on every product if it's Apple. Apple has created that. They've done an excellent job in creating that. Also, all the products work well together. They're quality products. They have a long life cycle. And so some people are somewhat loyal. You know, they'll buy the MacBook Air, but they like Macs and they'll use Macs. But if they're too expensive, if they're $2,000 versus a Dell at $600, they're going to have second thoughts. So not everybody is completely loyal. Some people are somewhat loyal. Most people are somewhat loyal to different brands. It really depends on the brand. And some people are not loyal at all, and they just go to the lowest price or the best value they can get for their money. So that's how loyalty fits in. It's so important to marketers. You know, airlines have created their own level of currency with they were the first to use the frequent flyer mileage, and they almost created their own currency with that. And so the whole point is to create loyalty. You know, I'm loyal to certain things. I'm loyal to Hilton hotels. We stay there a lot. You know, we get points, and all my credit cards go to points. And if they're the same price as a competitor, or maybe a little bit more, we will stay at Hilton. But if they can't be too much more, if they're double the price, we will stay at a competitor. So loyalty only goes so far. A couple other factors that I'm going to go over very quickly requirements of segmentation. Your segment, whatever you're measuring, whatever I should say targeting, needs to be measurable. You need to be able to measure it. You need to be able to access the group. They need to be big enough. Once you measure how big the group is, they have to be big enough to have a substantial impact on what you're trying to do with in sales. And you have to be able to differentiate one group to another. It's hard to do sometimes in segmentation. You have to be able to do that, and you have to be able to take action. What are the media sources? What are the different ways you reach your target audience? So segmentation has to be these are requirements. And so those are some things. You're not going to be tested on these. I'm just throwing this in there, but it's something for your information. Now we're going to be looking at the persona. This is the last concept for this lecture. Who are we designing our product or service for? Who are we designing our research for? Well, we need to know who that is. And being in marketing a long time, like I have been, in the old days, we used to put data sheets up on a whiteboard or up on a tear sheet. We used to put it up, and we used to put demographics, psychographics, certain behavioral patterns, and it'd be like a data sheet, and we would keep those. That'd be as a result of a brainstorming session. And then marketers, and this is now throughout all of marketing, they've created what is called the persona. The persona is making that data sheet come to life. So coming to life, and that's what it is. It personalizes your target audience, whatever your target audience is. And you always want to put demographics and psychographics in there. I'm going to show you some models. You also want to put products they're loyalty or brands they're loyal to, certain other things we're going to look at too, that you give this person a picture, a face, you give them a name, and this person represents, it's a character you create that represents a key target segment of your audience. So, most businesses have more than one persona. Most have more than two. Most have 3, 4, even 5 personas that they target or sell to. So again, you're going to make and this is, who is this? Julio or something? Yeah, Maximo. Oh God. Iglesias. Okay. Age 25 to 30. Notice I didn't say age 25. We said 25 to 30. It's a range we give it. This person represents men in this range. What's the work? Actor, family, single, location in Madrid. So we cover some of the demographics here. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see income in here. And then there's some way. This particular model I'm showing you is a computer generated model that I'm going to show you. If you want to use this, you can, or you can use a much more simplified Word document too. The use of technology is something we care about. Something about we need to know their psychographics. Typically, we reflect psychographics in 1 or 2 words. We don't have a full sentence. We say something like values convenience, values quality, values environment, values authenticness. Those are things that typically is 1 or 2 words. It's not, you don't write sentences like that. But then the brands this person is loyal to. In this particular extensio model, you can take these and you can drag them back and forth. You can change any part of this for what makes sense for your. This is the more simplified Word doc, and I'm showing you models here, and in the curriculum, in the course material, you'll see models that you can actually use. You download it and use it. So you've got here we have this guy represents the mistake here that should be 28 to 36 years old, something like that, not 32. You don't want to make a persona based on one pinpointed age. And here's the demographics, here's the psychographics. We like to put in, something like a representative quote, because we want this guy, Peter, to come to life, sort of be, put life into him, personalize it. And we put the social media he's loyal to, what frustrates him, what brands he's loyal to, use of technology sometimes is important, what they're interested in. You can have less cells and you could have 6 cells if you wanted to. You don't have to have all of these. Frustration, interest, and don't have to necessarily be there, but you make a choice there. The persona for Bing, which is with respect to Red Bull, the demographic psychographic is always going to be there. Her representative quote, what she is, what social she's loyal to, what behavioral factors. Here they threw in behavioral factors, and it's one of my students created this. Is created behavioral factors, and the brand loyalties are here, and the activities this person is active with. Anything other, you don't really need an other here. If you don't put a title, you don't need to put other there. This is the last one I'm going to show you is this one, and this is another extensio program. Should say age 28 to 36. It shouldn't say age 32. Behavioral profile. This time there's a write-up based on what you don't have to do this. You have to know a lot about your audience to be able to do this. You don't necessarily have to do that. But you got demographics, psychographics, personality, brands, what social media, loyal to, and motivation. So this model gives you these boxes. You can drag these things across. You can change the names. You can change everything. So I'm giving you 2 options for the work this week, is that you can use the more simplified Word documents. You're not going to get a better grade per se if you use the more sophisticated one, but the more sophisticated one is good for professional purposes. The only thing is you're allowed one shot. You're allowed one time. You have 3 hours to build it. You can use it one time. The problem is it's a subscription product. So after one-time free usage, the whole thing, you can take a screenshot, put it in your presentation, put it in your as homework. The problem with it is you can't do another one. You have to buy a subscription. So it bases that on your email address you put in. So you got one good shot at it, then you have to buy a subscription. It's like $20 a month or something like that. So anyway, that's a lecture for this week, and make sure you pay attention to everything else going on in the module. And I'm always here, like always, I'm here for you if you have any questions. So see you in the module.